Wow, what a fantastic year it's been. 22 of the last 25 months we've seen a rise in Perth property prices. They've moved like 15-16% in the last 12 months. The rental factor is below 1%. The supply of listings, there's only 8,800 in the market. Go back 2016, there was nearly 25,000, so supply and demand. The regional markets are moving well. The farming market has gone ballistic for the last 3 or 4 years on top of great prices and carbon credits. And the industrial market, and the surprising one as well, is the retail market and the office market. They've all gone very well. So across the sector, all the commercial's gone extremely well. Commercial leasing as well. Indeed, we had one of the greatest sales of all time, over $1 billion here in West Australia this year as well. So the sector looks very bright across the board. Now let's take a closer look at what's actually causing that. It's always great talking about the opportunities and what the strengths are, but let's look about the threats. Now, the impending threat is obviously interest rates. With the way the US economy is going, bond yields are, it's inevitable interest rates will be on the way up. Interest rates have been so historically low. When they start moving even a bit, that could cause, especially on the East Coast, some mortgage stress which people are too finely geared, or even in home ownership. So that could cause a bit of a problem and take some people out of the market. On top of that, you've got the ever-present COVID and terrorism still lurking in the background of how it may or may not affect things. Another section that I'd suggest is coming to prominence now is China. As they actually stretch their muscle power across the globe, it's causing all sorts of machinations that could have great impact across the world economy. The final scenario is the zero carbon footprint. This situation is going to be more prominent in building, business practices, etc., and the impost to business will be higher. So that could be, not that it's a threat to the industry, but it will be an impost cost that will be carried forward. So that's the way I see it with threats moving forward for 2022. So some of the changes and trends to look for in 22 is the biggest thing I've been harping on now for a couple of years now, and Bernard Salt's been ahead of his game with it on the East Coast. It's called VESPAs, Virus Escapees Seeking Provincial Australia. And you'll see the rural market going quite high in price terms because people will be exiting the city to go and live on a couple of acres where they've got their home that they can actually harvest their rainwater, feed their free-range chickens and grow their own veggies and work away from the city. So VESPAs is a big one. Another one is that we're seeing more people working away from home, which obviously we're decentralising the office space. And what office space we are working with the COVID pandemic, we're actually having to use greater office areas within that, not people stacked in like cattle cubicles. So we're using greater floor area. We're also seeing, because of the COVID situation, we've seen a huge boost in local tourism. So Airbnb and short-term accommodation is going through the roof and will continue to do so. Even when they open the borders again, I believe that a lot of people who have actually bought their caravan and discovered how good our backyard here is in WA will be holidaying here rather than go overseas, and you'll see a lot of people from the East Coast coming and visiting here. So when the borders open, being the safest place in the world to come, I think you'll see tourism property will go strongly as well. So there's a couple of trends to look out for. So I guess the big question after the Rapid 21 is how do we take advantage in 22? So the obvious thing to me is if you don't own your own home now, beg, borrow, steal, get parents' guarantee, somehow buy a property, get into the market and lock in your interest rates long haul. If you're not in the investment market and you can afford a few dollars, do so, because as I say, it's going to be cash flow positive for you at the current rates, and lock in your rates. If you're thinking about going to the rural areas, do so sooner than later, because there will be a big push there as people come out of the city. But here's another one to watch out for, is carbon sequestration. So the carbon footprint needs to be offset by all businesses, and I would suggest to you rural areas with a bit of virgin bush or scrubland on it can become a great profit turner for you for the future. Research and look for that. There are going to be some great opportunities as COVID comes to an end. Hopefully the borders open and Perth is going to become the shining light for not just Australia but the world, and property prices will move significantly. So I think we're going to be in for a good ride for a long time, subject to no great catastrophes. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, I'm going to probably be introducing to you a seminar that might help you early next year, and we can see how we can actually look in further depth into the market and take an opportunity from there. Guys, have a great 22 out there. Thank you.